Okay, welcome back to Jake on Food. As always, today we're making an interesting recipe. We're making some sourdough pretzels, and actually you can just make these into standard pretzels, or today I'm going to be wrapping some bratwurst and sauerkraut, kind of making a bratwurst in a blanket with a pretzel dough. Remember, you can always find my videos here on YouTube or other great recipes at jakeonfood.com. So here I have my sourdough starter. I have 1.5 cups of sourdough starter mix. I have 1 tablespoon of sugar, 2 teaspoons of salt. I have 2 ounces of melted butter, and I have 4.5 cups of flour. Alright, so I'm going to start off with that sourdough starter mix. I'm going to mix in my tablespoon of sugar and my 2 teaspoons of salt. And we're just going to let that sit and let the yeast get working. When you're dealing with yeast, it's always good to stir it up. A little bit of aeration helps make the yeast work faster. Yeah, so using a stand mixer, or you can also knead this by hand, I'm going to start off with my 4.5 cups flour. Pour that right in there. I'm going to add my 2 tablespoons of melted butter. Actually, it's not 2 tablespoons, it's 2 ounces, which is going to be 4 tablespoons. Then I'm going to add my mixture of sourdough starter, salt, and sugar. And then using a dough hook, we're going to mix this until it cleans the sides of the bowl. Alright, we're just going to start it off a little bit on low at first. Start kneading it together. A little bit higher. Not too high, you get flour coming out. As you can see, this is a really kind of a dry dough, so it's going to take a little bit. As you can see, it's still a little bit dry, so I'm adding just a little bit of water, about a tablespoon at a time, just to bring it together. Alright, it's not quite together yet, but it's getting there. The whole process probably is going to take about 5 to 10 minutes. It's really much easier using a mixer than trying to do this by hand. Alright, as you can see, we're getting a dry, stiff dough. Cleaning up the sides of the pan, or the bowl rather, and about ready to form a ball. Alright, here we have our nice, stiff, dry ball of dough. I'm going to put it in an oiled bowl so it doesn't stick, and we're going to cover this, place it in a warm place to rise until doubled for approximately about an hour. Okay, as you can see, our dough is doubled up in size. Next step is to roll it out. Okay, we're just going to start rolling out our dough. We're going to make it nice and thin because we're going to wrap these brats with it. Okay, as you can see, I have the dough rolled out nice and flat, ready to cut. Alright, I'm going to cut this into 6 pieces. Alright, I have all my brats lined up on the dough. These are some smoked bratwurst. Alright, then I'm just going to top them with some sauerkraut. A little bit on each one. Okay, it helps out if you dry the kraut out first, because the moisture makes it harder to wrap these. We just start pulling up the dough, pinching it together, folding everything in place, making our brat in a blanket with our sauerkraut until you have everything like so. Alright, then for the next step I have 10 cups of water, 2/3 cup baking soda, and we're just going to drop these in the boiling water for about 30 seconds. And then we'll put them on our sheet tray for baking. Okay, there we have them ready to go. Next step is I have 1 egg yolk with a little bit, 2 tablespoons of water. So I'm just going to pat these, or you can brush them with the egg wash mixture. I have some sea salt here, and I'm just going to sprinkle the tops with a little bit of sea salt. And I had a little bit of extra dough, so I made a couple pretzel bites. Put them in a 375-degree oven. Okay, I turned the oven up from 350 to 425. They're just starting to get a little bit brown now. And there we have it, a nicely browned brat in a blanket. Remember to like, subscribe to all my videos, share them with your friends, and come on back to see Jake on Food for our next episode.